ladies and gentlemen, I am so fortunate and blessed to have Shanan Steere on. Shanan, there are way too many accolades. So let's start by what's your actual role in this company? Is there something with Keller Williams, or you're just base coaching? Talk to me like I don't know you at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I've only been in this industry for 27 years, so I've kind of rolled up all my experience. And what everyone has told me is I've been preparing for the last 10 to do the next 5.
Okay.
So I partnered with Smokey Garrett and David Osborne to bring a coaching company to the market that is open to all companies. And it's based around systems, it's based around production. We're not like a lot of fluff. We are all about assets, and we're just going to do some of the work for you instead of attempt to get you to go build stuff, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
for instance, Ben, if you were coaching with us, you would say, hey, can you send me a blank system? And I would probably have 5 options for that are all editable so that we can stay focused on production instead of focused on the stuff.
Got it. Keeps you in that top 10 or top 20%, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have the pillar of a 12-week year, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that being said, maybe a great segue or transition into now that it's crazy that today is Monday and I believe today is July 1st. So I feel like halftime is over.
Yep.
Now it's time to, we're either in the third 12 weeks or the second half of the third quarter, call it what you want to, right? What adjustments would you suggest to folks? Because I've looked at my numbers, right? I know my numbers well. I am currently seven transactions from pacing where I should, right? Based off my goal. What would you suggest if you were coaching me? Which again would just be difficult in case we ever
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, ever go into business together, because I've had, I've coached myself. I think I've had 5 or 6 different coaches. And again, I'm, because I'm long in the tooth in this business and set in my ways. I'm a challenge, but I think so many of us out here are. Give me something, give me some meat. What would you suggest, for a typical agent who's sitting here behind their goal? Other than
First of all,
your damn sleeves and going to work, right? Our
Yeah.
boy Dusty would say, it's time to put your socks on, right? That's a Dustyism. So give me a Shananism. Give it to me.
First of all, you got to have a start time every day. And these are some of the holes that I see when coaching agents and teams, especially, that they don't have a start time. So if you were to open up a restaurant, you're going to go have some prep time before you actually open it to the public. As realtors, we just walk in and expect to be open to the public. So it is getting to work at 8:30. It is lead generating daily, Ben. And I mean, not just having an appointment with yourself that says lead gen, actually putting in the appointment what you're going to be doing for lead gen. Because our brains have horrible tricks that they play on us, right? It's always like, well, there's something more important to the seller than actually making these phone calls, or there's something going on that our brains look for distractions, especially if we have a variety brain. And so you've got to gamify yourself and understand your brain, how to keep yourself on task, being disciplined. Because if you're not disciplined, you're never going to get to the money, which means you're never going to get to the freedom and the flexibility. So it starts daily. What are your daily habits? First of all, get up and go to work. Or as Dusty would say, put on your socks.
Yes, 100%.
And then have a strategy. Like, plan your day. Don't just walk into the office and say, okay, world, what's going to happen today in the world of real estate? What do you plan to happen in the world of real estate? What control are you taking over your schedule and your time and your clients versus just hoping that business will happen? It's time to get on the offense. It's halftime.
It is halftime.
Defense is great.
Yes.
We have to be on the offense.
100%. Wow. Yes. So being there in the Kansas City area with you're like championship, city, the folks here in Dallas, we're crazy about our freaking Cowboys, but it's my Chiefs that are my favorite team, and I don't know if they're your favorite, but
Yes, they are.
I love the offense. But again, we still have to make stops in order to win the championship, right?
That's right.
So thanks
And
for
some of those stops may be like right now is upping your presentation skills, upping your role playing. What are the things that you really don't enjoy doing? Because, I used to play basketball and I was a 3 guard. So I love shooting. I hated playing defense. However, if we didn't play defense, I wouldn't have the chance to shoot again.
That's right.
So, what are the hard things that you need to be doing on the backside of working on your business, not just in your business?
Right. Well, and I've told a couple of people in here today in my 35 years, and I used to pride myself on the fact that I've never called for sale by owners or expired listings. I've never had to do any of that. And yet right now, I want to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that puts me in a very uncomfortable position. And so I'm putting together a game plan, a strategic plan to attack some, I hate to say it, but some for sale by owners. And again, I'm willing to put myself in that position so that I can I can experience, I think, the outcome. Because right now, if I'm behind 7 units, I got to do something different. I can't just sit here and do everything that I've done in the past and expect to get something different. So I think that if I'm willing to put myself in that uncomfortable position, then most should, because most don't produce like I do. And I'm very fortunate there. But again, I'm willing to do it. So if you
You're
were,
also you're putting in the work.
yes,
So do know what FISBO stands for, right?
absolutely. I was a little surprised that the gentleman, and I don't know his name, that was on the calls on Monday with Tommy, had never heard that before, because
Mhm.
that was the first thing I learned over 35 years ago. So it's not like that's a new term at all. It's been around for more than 35 years. And yet I never chased them. I never chased them because I'm an eye off the charts. And so I want for everyone to love me, and to think that a for sale by owner, they didn't like me, they didn't want to use me. I was like, well, I don't want to use you either. I don't want to work with you either. So, but you know what? My mindset is changing. So I
So
won't.
it is the fastest source of business opportunity.
Yes.
They
Right.
already have their hands up.
Right.
What's causing you to ignore them?
Yeah.
Because if you keep ignoring them, they're going to go list with the bad agents. That's my belief.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I used to tell the bold rooms, right? If you don't call them and care about them, they're going to end up with the people that you don't really like in real estate who don't do a good job of representing them.
Right.
What
Right.
would cause you to do that? And by the way, you don't always just have to call. You can mail, you can drop off, you can send a CMA, you can run a whole program, Ben, and never call.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
So many options.
not me. I'm going, matter of fact, I'm implementing the first phase of that today. And so it's going to be a number of touches, not just mail, because I think everyone does. And so it's going to, I have to try to call and go by. So I'm doing all 3 or 4 of those, again, just to force me to get out of my comfort zone. And I didn't create this, and I'm sure I stole it from someone. It's called the law of left field. And it's something that I am wholeheartedly on top of all day, because I know that when I'm focused on the things that I need to be focused on, a blessing hits me upside the head that I didn't even see coming. And I personally, and again, I'm a believer. I think that because the good Lord rewards me for being uncomfortable, for stretching myself, for putting myself
Mhm.
in harm's way. And I know now, I don't know when it's coming, but I know that it's coming. And so there's blessings that are coming from that. So I'm gonna stay focused and do what I need to do in order to succeed and have a great second half of the year. So
Yeah. And what I would tell you if I were coaching you is I would say, let's look at your disc and let's find where your strengths are and build those systems at such a high level that your return on investment is uber high in time and in money. And until those first 3 lead sources are built and systematized and consistent and super profitable, I wouldn't go add on another one.
Mhm.
So based on like your 3 strengths,
Or for
those
me.
are first. Yeah,
Right.
4 for you.
Yes.
And that once you like you can't get any more business because you've built your sphere as big as you can. You're already a 10-to-1 ratio and you're doing everything possible. Then go build something else.
Mhm.
Right. And if you're behind, you got to do things that you're not comfortable doing.
Amen. Amen.
And it's okay. I mean, when I relaunched my business in 2016, I hadn't sold for 10 years. So I let my sphere go. I thought I'd be a coach forever and I was never going to go sell again. Right. And I came back and did 53 units my first year back with an admin. 15 of those were expires and FISBOs, which I'd never called on before.
There you
And
go.
so 15 deals in 1 year with no experience calling on FISBOs and expireds. The first thing I did though, Ben, is I went and partnered up with a FISBO role play partner that I role played with 30 minutes once a week and an expired.
Yeah. Yeah. See, again,
So that
I
was the defense.
yep. And I think the importance behind that is I was so fortunate that, being in Gary's top individual mastermind, I had Brian Smith on 2 weeks ago, and Brian is from Atlanta, and in the business now for 6 years, and over the last 2 years with for sale by owners, he's done 12 million um, in the last 2 years just by FISBOs, right?
Yep.
And I thought, God dang it, right? If Brian Smith can, Ben Baker can. And actually I'm calling Brian just to I guess role play, right,
Mhm.
with him. So again, not to belabor that point, but yeah, it's time to get uncomfortable. So I will do just that. So tell me, I need to know something that because you're sitting in this position often, and again, I'm here each and every week and have been for the last 3.5 years with Shanan Steere. I'm curious, what Shanan, your drive, where does where does it come from? Is that um is that just God given? Is that mom and dad pushing you? Is that your kids pushing you? Where does it come from? Because again, I'm asking that question because I don't know you as well as I'd like to, and
Mhm.
there's something that makes you tick. What is that?
I don't know if we have that much time, Ben. Um, what I would tell you is, growing up, we grew up very simple. And in fact, the first 8 years, we grew up in a trailer, and my parents never believed in debt. And so, we bought a grocery store in this town of 400 when we were like 10 and 11, my sister and I, and we started cleaning meat machines and mopping floors every Sunday for our $10 a week. And then we became cashiers and then we became waitresses. And, I'll never forget the day my parents set us down and she was a senior and I was a junior. And they said, "We don't know much about college. We don't know how to guide you, and nor are we going to pay for it. And you're going to appreciate us someday." Well, I didn't think that was very cool.
Mm,
However, it made me really push myself to get good grades so I could have, scholarships, and I didn't want debt. And so I graduated out of college in 3.5 years just because I was tired of being broke and I had enough scholarships to get me through. And then I interviewed for jobs that only had company cars, Ben, because my car broke down. So at 21, I moved to Illinois to work for American Home Products, a Fortune 100 company, and started selling Advil. And that was the beginning of my I can do this on my own. And so I grew up with incredible parents that always said, "You can do anything you want. You have no limits, and we're not going to pay for it." So fast forward, right? Now my motivation is my kids and not just building wealth for myself, building wealth for them so that their kids are taken care of. Generational wealth is really important to me. And
absolutely.
every time I buy a house or I flip a house, I tell them, "Hey, guess what? You guys just grew in your inheritance." So, and that's really where my drive comes from.
Yeah.
Like it's how I'm hardwired and it's from my upbringing. My dad worked in Alaska for 17 years on the pipeline. And so he did whatever he had to do to support the family.
Absolutely. Are
Big
you
work ethic.
are you still fortunate to have him, or he's passed
Mhm.
on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still have both of them, which is amazing.
It is. Yeah, you're very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Hmm.
And I think like you, I'm fortunate that I'm a firstborn and a thirdborn. And so, I started work as an eighth grader, and I had my own stockbroker as a ninth grader. So I was
Hmm.
wired differently, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. Because again, I wouldn't have got that in a mastermind that we've done.
No.
And sometimes I like that because with the hundreds of people that I've had on here, so many I feel like I know or have gotten a chance to know because of just sitting down for a few minutes. So thank you for sharing that. Again, this time moves so quickly, especially when I was having technical difficulties, right? So let's touch on, is there something that you would like to share with this audience? And so typically, Shannon, just so you know, all the episodes I've done are on my YouTube channel. This will also be posted there. Sometimes we have 20 people, sometimes we have 70 people who all chime
Mhm.
in on a Tuesday at 10:30. So it doesn't really, I don't care how many people chime in, because for me, this is about you and I, right?
Right.
And they're just spectators. They get to set in because I'm so learning based, and I can learn so much from just listening and having not just mega producers, but amazing people on this show. And like I said, I don't know you well, but I've referred you two or three different coaching clients, and I heard from
Yep.
Sarah Morales that she's now going to be coaching with you. And I wouldn't have done that if the respect wasn't there. So it's
I
there's
appreciate that.
I appreciate you. Um, give me one more nugget that we can or two that we can close on. What are you thinking?
You know, don't ever give up on your goals. There's many times that people are behind, just like we are right now at halftime, and people feel like, well, I'm just going to give up and start over next year. That truly is the power of a 12-week year. We actually purposely don't start it on the quarters or the halves because we don't even want to pay attention to that. We want to have a very small focus and only three goals at a time. So when you're looking at, your goals and you're setting these parameters, Ben, it's critical that you do a production goal, a system goal, and a personal goal. That's it. And when we take all those numbers out and all the stuff that people want to like track and take care of and everything, it really comes down to how many commission checks are you going to earn? And do you have the right tactics in place to cause those lead indicators to cause the lag results? And it really is about you understanding your brain and yourself and your self talk. And then how do you get yourself to actually do it? We do some simple things like the Pomodoro theory. So just for 25 minutes, you can keep focused for just 25 minutes. And then you go do something else, right? You go treat yourself because you managed it, you did it. And it's about winning the day so you don't go home with guilt.
Mhm.
Because to me, when you don't win the day and you go home with guilt, now you're not going to win the night either with the most important people in your world. And so if people can stay disciplined at work, life gets a lot more fun. And I'll tell you, my trick is in my calendar. Everything is in my calendar, and I book myself then back to back to back. As soon as we're done, I'm headed out to go meet my contractor on a new flip that I just started. We're going to the design kitchen meeting, right? So I don't give myself an opportunity to lose time because I literally book myself that time.
Mm,
And some people would say that's not healthy. It depends on how much money you want to make and how successful you want to be.
right.
I
And
give
again,
myself a couple breaks and lunch. Otherwise, I'm hitting it.
yeah. And again, it's healthy for you,
It's
right?
healthy for me.
Yeah, it's healthy for you, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily for me, because I I don't keep a schedule like that. But again, we're so uniquely different. And something that you touched on, the first time I heard you say it, I loved it. When you talked about your goal this year, and I forget if it was 60 or 100 commission check,
100.
right? 100, right?
Mhm.
That was so impressive, because I think sometimes we lose sight on, we think, I got to help a buyer or a seller. Not necessarily. You want checks coming in, period. Those might be referral checks from agent partners from around the country, right? That might be checks from your flips. That might be servicing buyers, sellers, renters, investors, all of that. So again, the folks who are sitting in and listening to this, I think, yeah, we need a goal. How many of those would you like, right? I
Yeah.
We would say as many as possible, but I think again, your brain hears your thoughts, and so I think be targeted and be specific. Like you said
Yeah.
100.
So I have a goal of 100 real estate pre-checks and only work 24 transactions.
Hmm.
So far this year, I've worked 18. So I'm ahead on the transactions. I need to slow down a little bit. And I'm
Hmm.
right at 45 on the real estate paychecks that are either already in, pended, or absolutely will be done.
I love that.
So I'm only 5 behind coming
Yeah,
to the second half. However, I know I can make that up. And by the way, if I got 90, I'm not going to be mad.
right.
100 was a big
Yeah,
number,
yeah.
especially when you're referring. So
Hmm.
I joined a big team and they are absolutely phenomenal. Most of the agents on the team at least do 40 transactions a year. Most of them do between 15 and 20 million. So all of my, my relationships in with my executives and my corporate relos and just my high end people, I have so much confidence now, Ben. Instead of me feeling like I have to work them, I don't. I have better people than me who actually know the inventory better than I do because I travel and train so much.
Right.
So it's a cool place to be when you have the ultimate leverage. And leverage is the name of the game. So
Amen.
there's no way I could do 100 on my own.
Right. Right.
I can refer like a crazy woman now.
Right. Right.
It's a
Right.
fun game.
It is, and I'm glad you shared that because I'd love for you guys to know that I think there is the nugget, right? Where I'm so fortunate that uh, each and every episode they're packed full of nuggets if you only listen, and so you heard one. So, and if you didn't get it, then that's a you problem. That ain't a me problem. So, got Jen, I appreciate it. You know what? I think I've probably kept you now since we got started late. I've probably utilized the 20 or 25 minutes that we had. So unless there's something else, sweetheart, I appreciate you honoring me with a few minutes of your time. Again, I think you brought the meat this week. I'm so fortunate that each and every week my guests do just that because they're in it. Their boots are on the ground, right? They're out
Mhm.
here making it happen. You're not just teaching around the country. You're actually in it. You're implementing it, right? You're going through exactly what we go through, and I love that. So, um,
I go through all the fun too. I
right,
just now cherry pick who I want to work with and where I want to work, and then make referral checks on the other. The only thing I would tell you is if you have any interest in coaching, please go out to basecoachinggroup.com, sign up for a free strategy session.
there you
We
go.
really are about productivity, strategies, and systems. Systems is the word that I use all the time. You hear me say this in masterminds, Ben.
Yes,
You've got to have systems because it's, you want to go hard on the systems and easy on the people.
right.
And it makes a big difference. So thank you very much for having me. I look forward to seeing you on the next mastermind in Dallas.